Happy Halloween, vinyl community! Ha, ha. Well, there you go. Happy Halloween. How's it going? I'm Jamie, and welcome back to another vinyl update, and hopefully you and yours will have a very happy and safe Halloween. So obviously on this one, I thought I'd have a Halloween focus, and this is going to be presenting nothing too heavy or gothy. This is pretty much kitschy stuff, campy stuff, fun stuff, novelty kind of stuff. So hopefully you will enjoy, and yeah, let's get right to it. First off, I thought I'd present a box set that came out in year 2000. You might have seen it on the shelf in some of my earlier videos. I've dusted it off, brought it down from the shelf, and we'll take a look inside. This is Brain in a Box, and this is a Rhino compilation, the Science Fiction Collection. And as you can see from the packaging, a lot of fun. And I do love, I don't know if you can sort of see that, it's got like 3D kind of artwork going on with the brain inside the box. Nice and creepy. There you go, all wired up. And yeah, so they've got the song listings on the back, and even, artwork all around. And I do love on the bottom how they have, warning, do not turn upside down. Of course, because if you do, then all the CDs may fall out. But housed in a nice box, nice hard tin there, and yeah, 5 CDs and with a book. So let's take a look inside. And this does remind me of certainly Rhino Records. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, with regards to a lot of their sort of themed compilations, they were really creative in how they presented a lot of them. And it doesn't seem at Rhino that they're quite as creative as they used to be. But, certainly an example of something like this. Like, this is just so creative, just very artistic, very creative, that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe artistic's not quite the right word, certainly in this case. Okay, let's take a look inside. So we got 5 CDs, each one a different theme. And disc 1, we have movie themes. And it's really nice. They fill up the discs nicely with lots of stuff. And I even love how they have a warning on each one, a different warning. This one has, not for use in zero gravity. And, just great artwork overall. And this one has movie themes, so it kicks it off with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You've also got 2001 Space Odyssey, Forbidden Planet, The Day the Earth Stood Still, It Came from Outer Space, Creature from the Black Lagoon, all the classic kind of stuff, Planet of the Apes, and then it goes right up to, at this time, The Fly, Mars Attacks, and The Matrix, also included on this one. So there you have disc 1, and then disc 2, we've got TV themes. More fun artwork overall. In this one, you've got TV themes from The Twilight Zone, Lost in Space, My Favorite Martian, Doctor Who, The Jetsons, also The Outer Limits, and you've got the Thunderbirds included, Star Trek, also Star Trek The Next Generation, The Simpsons, and The X-Files, all included as well. And moving on to disc 3, we've got Pop. And again, more artwork there. And for this one, we kick it off with the Tornadoes Telstar. We've also got the Marquette's Out of Limits. Then they have things like Jefferson Airplane, Have You Seen the Saucers? Graham Parker and the Rumor with Waiting for the UFO. Spirit, Space Child. So an interesting selection overall. You've got T-Bone Burnett with Humans from Earth. And you've got the Ventures on here as well. And yeah, so an interesting compilation overall. Not the typical stuff. And then you've got Incidental Lounge as the 4th disc. And just loving the artwork overall. And here you've got tunes from Russ Garcia and his orchestra. So you're dealing with generally a lot of instrumentals here. You've got songs from Les Baxter, Dick Hyman, Jerry Goldsmith, and even Leonard Nimoy Alien on this one. And then we've got the 5th disc, Novelty, if we didn't have it novelty enough. And for novelty, we've got The Flying Saucer, Parts 1 and 2, Beep Beep, The Blob, Martian Hop, Music to Watch Space Girls By, that's a Leonard Nimoy song. And you've also got Planet Claire from the B-52s, Ella Fitzgerald, Two Little Men and a Flying Saucer. And then you've got Sheb Wooley's Purple People Eater. There you go. Pretty silly overall. So there's the 5 discs there, and then the book as well that's included. And this book, it's a nice book overall, great essays, and really neat photos, vintage photos. And this takes a look at sort of the science fiction genre overall, with regards to movies, artwork, comic books, television, of course, toys, merchandising, that sort of thing. But a nice book overall. There you see Creature from the Black Lagoon. Nice reproductions of some of the posters overall. Yeah, just a really nice book. Complete song listings. Also, of course, taking a look at the music that's inspired by science fiction. But yeah, overall, what just a creative, at the very least, packaging for Brain in the Box. Don't know if you can see that there. There you go. That's some fun. Brain in a Box. All right, I'll just put this down here. And we've got some other stuff. Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds. I enjoy this every Halloween. I kind of put it on. This is the CD version of an album that came out in 1978. And this is, of course, based on the novel H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. And overall, this is really terrific. Great. It's kind of a rock music telling of it. So it's a lot of acting, dialogue, but with also some songs, music throughout it as well. Orchestrated, but still kind of a rock bass. And you've got Richard Burton narrating it, and that alone, just his wonderful voice, Richard Burton. But you've got some all-stars on here. You got Justin Hayward of the Moody Blues is featured on here, Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. You've got David Essex also on here as well, and it's great overall. Double album, 2 CD set, and this one has the booklet included, which is quite nice, and nice reproduction with all the sort of the dialogue, lyrics, story overview, but some of the artwork that they have with this is just amazing. There you go. Yeah, it's definitely a double album worth checking it out. If you're not familiar with it, it's really an enjoyable listen overall. It's generally well executed. And especially when you got Richard Burton narrating, you know, how can you go wrong? Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds. And this was basically like a concept album, certainly, from 1978. Well worth it. Okay, got some other stuff, something a little different for you. How about this? Alfred Hitchcock presents ghost stories for young people. So this is a children's record, I think from 1962. As you can see, it's fairly water damaged and worn. But overall, it's fun. It's introduced by Alfred Hitchcock, and then an actor by the name of John Allen does most of the storytelling. But it's, you know, suitably spooky, and again, with that Alfred Hitchcock narration or the introduction, it's pretty fun. You got The Haunted and the Haunters, The Magician, Johnny Takes a Dare, and yeah. So I think you can still find this online if you haven't heard it. Alfred Hitchcock presents ghost stories for young people. And that young person is suitably scared, I would think. There you go. And here's another one that's kind of similar in vein. This is Famous Ghost Stories with Scary Sounds. Again, this is well worn too. As you find often with a lot of used kids' records, they were played to death or not taken care of very properly. This one's got some water damage, but this one is also equally as good. And actually, the production values on this one is quite good. This is, again, story after story, but they really incorporate the sound effects quite well with the stories. Things like the headless horseman, the ghost ship, and other creepy stories, the Bloody Tower, the Haunted Gold Mine. And this was on the Pickwick label, Mr. Pickwick, which I would assume was the children's label of Pickwick Records. So you have Mr. Pickwick. But yeah, overall, it's quite good. Famous ghost stories with scary sounds. Because you got to have scary sounds when you're talking about ghost stories. Okay, let's see what else we got here. How about this one? This is a little Canadian content for you here. I talked about the Canadian band FM that had albums through the 70s and 80s, and Nash the Slash was an original member of the band. He left the band and then went on a solo career, but then got back with the band briefly in the 80s. But his solo career was quite unique. His presentation, he played violin, electric mandolin, and his presentation, he'd always have his face bandaged, and you would never really see him without his head bandage stuff on. It was kind of like the Invisible Man sort of kind of thing. But this is his one of his solo albums, Nash the Slash, Children of the Night. And this is a suitably, wonderfully creepy kind of album. He always had that kind of gothy kind of feel to his music, but with also some humor as well. First song on here is an instrumental called The Wolf, which is just great electric mandolin, electric violin attack, and then he also incorporates the music of Peter and the Wolf into the song. So it's a great instrumental track. The Wolf. But then right after that, he does Jan and Dean's A Dead Man's Curve. Title track from this, Children of the Night, is a nice, suitably creepy song. But then he's also doing 19th Nervous Breakdown. But it's got that kind of creepy, almost kind of gothy kind of feel. And he's always had that kind of creepy presentation to him. But again, also with some humor, since, he certainly grew up with early rock and roll and loved that. So this is Nash the Slash and Children of the Night. Suitably creepy, I think, there. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for this edition. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I hope, again, that you and yours have a very happy and safe Halloween, and thanks so much for liking and subscribing. I do appreciate it. Maybe I should say goodbye with my friend Jack here, Jack-O-Lantern, and happy Halloween, vinyl community. Woo! Thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.